today is consistently consistent. And who doesn't need that, right? Every single one of us in this room, that if you have something in your life that has a goal attached to it, you have to be consistent. Look at Corey. He went from 2 days to 3 days to 5 days of tennis. That's how you get good. So you keep practicing and you're consistent in what you do. So my inspiration for my talk today is actually my husband. Rick is right here in the front row in that bright green shirt. He's never been to conference before. He coaches football at one of our local universities, and so he's never able to be here because this week is two-a-days.
That's why.
So I'm sure he's missing out on that. So the reason that he inspired me is because he came to me just a few years ago and said, you know, I'm going to run a race. And I thought, oh, okay. He runs all the time, so that wasn't anything out of the ordinary. But the thing about this race that's special is that it's called the Leadville 100. And that is an ultra marathon. And what this race entails, actually, is the fact that you have to run 100 miles through the Rocky Mountains. You have 30 hours to complete the race. And then you have a couple of checkpoints during that 30 hours, and if you're not at a certain point, you're disqualified. So you gotta keep going. And not only is the elevation of this race over 12,000 feet elevation, you have to do the race for about 9 to 10 hours of it in the complete pitch black darkness of night by yourself. So when I think of that, I think there is no way in the Lord's earth that I would ever be able to do such a thing. And trust me, I don't run. So I really wouldn't do it. But just so you can kind of have a few images, I wish I had a video like Darren and Chris had, but this is just a few images of what that race looked like. This is kind of a distant shot of the Rocky Mountains. And it's obviously amazing, gorgeous, beautiful, but at the same time, how intimidating is that? Now this next shot here is, actually it shows you a little closer up of the terrain of the race. And it was really rocky, boulders. Rick said there's fallen trees and roots growing up under the trail. And so it was really hard on you in having to make that steep incline climb and to keep going. And honestly, it's kind of gross, but by the time he even got back, because they beat up their feet so badly, in 2 weeks, all of his toenails fell off. How about that, Dr. Street? All right. All right, so here's actually a night shot, and it's the beginning of the race, and the reason I know that is because in the beginning at 4 a.m., there's a whole bunch of people around you, and all you have is a headlamp and a flashlight to be able to see where you're going. Yikes. And this last shot here is they have to cross rivers. Rivers in a marathon. Normally you'd think, oh, it's just pavement, it's through a city, you're good. No, rivers. And you don't get to change your shoes until you get to the next checkpoint. Ugh, I don't like wet feet, so that doesn't fly. So the reason that this inspired me was really because of the fact that I thought about what we do in our business. And our business is not a sprint. You might go on mini sprints, but ultimately, it's an ultra marathon. And we have to be able to know that you're going to go through all kinds of barriers. It might not be that you're running through rivers, maybe you will, I don't know, Kathy Bartlett's area, maybe you run through rivers. But you do have all kinds of barriers that are going to come across your path, and are you prepared for the long haul and to persevere through that? So what do we mean by being consistent? Totally didn't look at my cards. Being consistent means that every single day you're doing something to take action in your business. You can't be, oh, I might do a BBP this maybe I'll do an FTT with my friend next week, that kind of thing. If you don't have consistency, you can't get traction in your business and gain momentum for you or your team. So you have to keep moving, because ultimately, the speed of the leader determines the pace of the pack, right? If you're at a crawling pace, then so is your team. And honestly, you owe them. If they trusted you enough to join you in this mission, you owe them to take action. And you guys have probably seen this before. You can do this business part-time, and you can do it full-time. But you can't do it some of the time. Right? Nobody likes this word. Sacrifice. It means that you have to give something up to get something you want. And we all want something, either freedom, time freedom, money freedom, whatever it is, we all want something. But in order to get what you want, you have to give something up. An example of Rick's race and his sacrifice, we had no idea what kind of sacrifice we had to make as a family in him preparing and training for this race. And what it took was because of the fact that he was working full-time, more than 40 hours, because he's a branch manager at his company. He had to miss dinner, run, and train all the way past the time that we would actually go to bed, so he didn't get to see us. Or he'd get up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, he'd go out and he'd train again, and then go straight to work. When you're going to do a race like this, it takes daily commitment. And on the weekends, he'd be running 4 hours, building up to 6 hours, up to 12 hours, 24-hour runs in order to do this. And you know what, you guys? We have to do the same thing. We have to know right now, if you don't already know, we're hitting buttons, that you have to make sacrifices in order to get where you want to go. I was working 50 plus hours a week as a rehab manager when I started Yoli. We have 4 children, every one of them in some type of a sport, or 2, because they overlap a lot of the time. And so I had to find somewhere that I was going to give something up in order to make this business work. So I missed some games, I missed some carpooling, I missed lots of dinners, and I know lots of you are missing out on sleep, your favorite shows, whatever those sacrifices are, but you can't think that you're going to come into this business and not make sacrifices. But the thing is, you guys, is that those sacrifices, you're making them in the short term, like Darren Harding is talking about in his graph. It's front-loaded work for long-term blessing. So if you're willing to give some things up in the short term, I promise you, that in the long run, you're going to look back and say, thank you, God. Oh, reality check. There's going to be times, many times, and I know that lots of the leaders down there would agree, that you're going to have times that you just think, you know what, I can't do this. I gotta throw in the towel. It's not even worth it. It's not worth the sacrifice. I can't do it. Rick had talked about a part of his race that really was super emotional when he had gotten back and was telling me about it. That the last third of that Leadville race, through the trails that they were running, intermittently he'd see one person over here sitting on a lawn, and then he'd see one person over here sitting on a boulder. But the thing is that they have their faces buried in their hands, sobbing, crying, because they could not take another step. And the reason that makes me emotional emotional is because we have that too. We have those people that you bring into your mission and that you share with, and they jump in full war like, I'm going to be a diamond in 6 months. Like Jen said, only she did it. But they either completely quit, go missing in action, or they're at a snail's pace, whatever it might be, that they just feel like they can't do it anymore. And you're going to want to do what Rick wanted to do. You're going to want to pick them up, throw them over your shoulder, and take them the rest of the way and cross that finish line. But the thing with that is that you can't carry them. As much as you want to, and as much as it hurts, trust me, I know, I've been there. I want it so bad for so many people, but you can't want it more for them than they want it for themselves. We don't motivate people. We can't motivate people. But what you can do is you can inspire them with your own action. So as you're moving on and you're passing by those that are thinking of giving up, and you let them go and love them where they're at, the way that you inspire them is by helping those that are ready to run and ready to change their lives and ready to reach for their dreams. Oh my gosh, I'm out of time. Is that you help them to achieve their goals, and in the background, they're always watching. So as they're watching, you can inspire them to come back to the table and take up the race again. This is Rick and John. John also is Rick's friend who also ran this race. They crossed the finish line. Huge sense of relief. And that's what... 27 hours and something. Sorry, I don't have the exact numbers, but a little over 27 hours it took to get that done. So this is the founder of Leadville. He says, you're better than you think you are. You can do more than you think you can, and I know that's true for every single one of you, if you believe it too. And everything in my life, I always go back to the oldest truth there is. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time, we will reap a harvest if you do not give up.